So I'm standing here with Adrian Cole from JClouds, CloudSoft. Hi Adrian, welcome to JAX.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Hi. As you mentioned, I'm founder of JClouds. I also joined a company CloudSoft a couple months ago, and that's where we basically structure our professional open source around programming the cloud through the JVM, most often Java. And also do things, for example, work with how do you make applications that span multiple clouds and control policy and things. So
you're the founder. When did you found JClouds?
JClouds was founded 2.5 years ago, early 2009, and it came out of a backend for Infinispan, which is JBoss's data grid. So we used to focus on just storage, like connecting to Amazon S3. And then at the end of 2009, we started also working on compute resources similar to Amazon EC2.
Cool. And you've become evangelist at CloudSoft. What is your job there?
So evangelist at CloudSoft means I do what I was doing before and then more. So I'm still leading the JClouds project. The community is quite large. I think we have had 70 contributors, most recently from Adobe and also HP, which is really nice for the project. So there's a lot of ecosystem there from not just the library, but also tools and service providers, things like that, and working between all of them. And also, there's more commercial customers of JClouds, so I try to help with sometimes some architectural advice and lead things like events and training, as you might expect.
Coming back to JClouds, is there a main country where you get contributors from or users?
That's a really interesting question because from, for example, analytics standpoint, there tends to be a far distance between the people that look at JClouds content from the US versus everywhere else. However, for example, Germany is probably number 3, maybe, behind the UK. It's always like 3 or 4. The reason is when JClouds was started back in 2009, this was started in the UK, but the founding few months were actually in continental Europe. So for example, I coded for about 5 weeks in Berlin and went to a couple conferences, little trainings and things like that during the time, and so we had some pretty early folks interested even back in 2009 in the project, and that has rippled even till today. So from a contributor standpoint, it's all over the map. We have contributors. It used to be mostly outside of the U.S. Now there's more in the U.S., but it's still pretty broadly spread. From anywhere in any continent, pretty much. I think the only place we don't currently have contributions coming from continent-wise is Africa, and we'll work on that.
Okay. You got a couple of talks here at WJAX. What are you presenting?
So this morning I presented some information about JBoss. There's been a lot of tweets and buzz about the new app server and how quick it starts up. And so I had to talk about the context of that in the cloud, for example, where these performance numbers help you and where there's some other things, for example, the time it takes to start machines and such, that actually can limit the effectiveness of that. And so it's sort of a real world, real numbers discussion. And the interesting thing there is that because JClouds is multi-cloud, most of the points we discussed were not actually using Amazon resources. There were numbers from different cloud providers because, for example, this data was taken from London and Amazon doesn't run in the UK. So that's pretty interesting, and the slides will be online for that. And then in a couple hours I'll be talking about an interesting tool called Whir, which is an Apache project. It's a top-level project that basically helps provision NoSQL data sources. It's not limited to NoSQL, but that's its focus. So for example, things like Hadoop or HBase or Cassandra. And Whir is being used by a lot of folks to actually set up their test environments. So for example, if you're trying to do continuous integration, and sometimes now you're working on connecting to like Cassandra as opposed to MySQL. So this will help you build your environments, and even some are using in production, although it is quite, very much an early tool.
Cool. So enjoy your time at WJAX.
Thanks.
And see you soon.
Okay, see you.